the Rams are still building.
Yeah, they could, and at any time the Rams could explode again. Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy year, man.
But we were just talking about football because the NFL draft is on. But Dave, tonight, we just finished talking
tonight.
through SmackDown.
LA Knight won another match. What are you talking about?
So yeah, tonight SmackDown started the draft off. So night one of the draft started tonight, and then it will continue on to Raw on Monday. We're recording this on April the 28th, 2023. And I guess this is supposed to really officially launch the Triple H era. He's going to mix things up. We're going to go back to brand specific. People aren't going to float between the both brands. He even introduced a new championship on Raw last week, or was it this week? I don't remember.
It was last week.
Yeah, and so now there's another championship. So we're going to have a Raw champion, for, lack of a better phrase, and then we're going to have the SmackDown champion, which we know that Roman is still Universal and WWE champion combined. So I have a feeling they're just going to keep those belts combined forever. Roman just wears the two belts because it looks good. I get it. It makes him look super decorated. But so it looks like they're going to split the brands again like they did before. I don't know. This never seems to work out ever. It always they try it for a couple years and then it fucking sucks and then they stop doing it. So I don't know how much longer, but we're going to give Triple H a chance, right?
I always loved the unified brand split with a champion that could carry over. I thought that was the best formula, but
I think there should be one unified champion. There should be one unified secondary champion. There should be unified tag champions, unified women's champion, unified women's tag champions.
I do like having secondary titles carry each roster. So having US on one and then having
maybe that's an amendment I'll be willing to make.
I see on another, because if you have those branded championships for pay-per-views, those could, like they've done this year, like the IC championship actually was a main event on a few things. I thought
Triple
that was great.
Triple H and Shawn Michaels have always kind of valued the secondary championship, so I do like what they've done with the US and
they've brought back the value of it. I agree. Yeah, I'm very happy
like the Elimination Chamber, for example, was for the US title this year, so I thought that was cool.
Now change the damn titles back. Sorry. They suck.
And then the new belt, I have to say, looks awesome.
It looks way better than what they got rolling right now.
Way better than the bullshit that Roman carries around his shoulders. But so real quick, I have the results here for April 28th. We have the round one, pick one was obviously the Bloodline was picked as a whole choice. So it was
you can just do that. Okay.
Yeah. It was, but I don't believe they did the Usos, right? So the Bloodline was chosen. Roman Reigns, Solo, and Paul Heyman were drafted to SmackDown, which they're currently on SmackDown, so it really wasn't a change. Cody Rhodes was number 2 pick. He was drafted to Raw, which he is Raw, so there's no change there. Bianca was on Raw. She is now SmackDown. She is the Raw Women's Champion on SmackDown. What are they going to do?
I would tell you that the way SmackDown is run, like the way just the video, I don't know how you describe it, the way it's produced. I love Bianca on the idea of SmackDown. I think we're going to see a lot more work from her. I think it's going to be great.
I do too. I really do too. Becky Lynch was on Raw. Becky stays on Raw. So she was pick number 4. Pick number 5 were the Street Profits. They were on Raw and now they're on SmackDown. So hopefully they're going to have a different push. And then we all kind of want Ford to maybe do a singles run eventually.
Montez needs to go on a run, yeah.
But take your time. Take your time with that. There's really no
rush.
Imperium, which is Gunther, Ludwig, and Giovanni. They were on SmackDown. They are now to Raw. So that's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Edge was on Raw. Edge is on SmackDown now.
Edge is retired now. What? Oh, I'm sorry.
Matt Riddle stays on Raw. He was on Raw. He was drafted back to Raw. Bobby Lashley drafted from Raw to SmackDown. I love that move because I feel that he was stale on Raw. So I like that. Drew McIntyre was on SmackDown. Now he's on Raw. Hopefully they're going to give him a little bit more of an edge. I love Drew McIntyre, and I think they're kind of fumbling with him a little bit. However, I trust Triple H. I do. I know that sounds silly, but I do. The OC, AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, they were on Raw, and now they're going to SmackDown as a stable.
Ooh.
So they were all drafted as once. The Miz was on Raw, stays on Raw. Damage Control was on Raw, now on SmackDown.
Yeah, you can't. You have to have the Miz, on Raw. It's staple.
Shinsuke Nakamura was on SmackDown, going to Raw.
Hey.
So and they're trying to refresh him too. And then we have, let's see here. Alba Fry and Isla Dawn, sorry, they were on NXT. Now they're on SmackDown. They're a tag team. And then we have Indy Hartwell on NXT, now being called up to Raw. So we have a couple NXT people that were called up.
No Braun Breaker yet.
Nope, the supplemental drafts, which are the drafts that will happen overnight tonight, between tonight and tomorrow, are going to be, so there's no decision yet here. Candice LeRae, Chelsea Green, and Sonya Deville, Dexter Loomis, Dolph Ziggler, Hit Row, Lacey Evans, Maxim Male Models, Mustafa Ali, Natalia, Omos, and the Viking Raiders will all be determined between tonight and tomorrow where they're going to go. And then on Raw kicks off with Alpha Academy. They're up for draft.
Sure.
Alpha Academy, Angel and Humberto, Asuka, Austin Theory, Baron Corbin, Braun Strowman, and Ricochet as a tag team. Brock Lesnar, Bronson Reed, Cedric Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin. Apparently, they're a tag team. Charlotte Flair, Dana Brooke, Elias, Emma, Johnny Gargano, The Judgment Day, Karrion Kross, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn, tag team champions. LA Knight, Raquel,
we
and
just
Liv
didn't find a
Morgan.
home for them tonight. We couldn't find a home for the actual champions. Okay,
Well,
whatever.
Yeah, they got to save something for Raw. So this is all going to be Raw,
Yeah,
and there's a bunch more people.
That'll be the
not
big
gonna
announcement of where they go. Yeah, I'm sure.
New Day, and the reason why there's so many more people that didn't get drafted, that because Raw's 3 hours, SmackDown's only 2, so they couldn't draft that many tonight. So go back to the first people. I'm fine. I'm fine with any of this. Like, I'm not even going to critique where they put anybody, because I want to let Triple H
let's talk
tell
about
story.
the biggest one. The biggest one is Cody going and Roman. They're splitting off, right? So that title that was just made this.
They're not
last
splitting
week,
off. It's the same, right? Cody, yes, he's been appearing on SmackDown, but he's primarily been Raw. There's no change there to me.
No. But I'm saying like Roman and Cody are splitting off. So Cody was never going to beat Roman. That's number one. That's what we're seeing right now, right? It was never going to happen. We didn't know that.
Yeah, because they claim that they've had the storyline written out for a while past WrestleMania. So you're right.
So
by that
this
theory,
this title that has been manufactured is the Cody title. That's my prediction right now. That's what's going to happen. He's going to start running Raw for a while. It's not what we wanted. It's probably not what we're going to want when we see it happen. But okay. I mean, I don't know. I get really mad about it and be stupid, but Cody's going to win a world title probably within a few months.
Probably. I think people are going to be upset if he wins this new secondary title or separate world championship. That's going to be on Raw.
People will call it tainted. There will be people that'll get really mad. I'm not going to.
However, what I was thinking in my head, and this is me fantasy booking, what if he does win that? People are going to be upset for a second. They're like, that makes no sense. You make him lose to Roman, and then he wins a gimme title. Basically, this is bullshit. What if Roman goes, you know what? I want his title now. I beat him at WrestleMania. I want all of them. Like, so any new fake stupid title you make, I want to win. And then he goes to Cody, and then Cody wins, and then gets all 3 or 2 or whatever you want to call them.
The explosion in Philadelphia
could be
across the world.
They could main event SummerSlam, and don't get me wrong, WrestleMania is still the biggest show of the year, and it's 2 nights.
But a lot could go wrong in a year plus, man. That's a lot.
Yeah, maybe they're gonna pull the trigger, at SummerSlam. I don't know. So let's just enjoy the ride. The draft is what it is, right? I don't feel like I care either way, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because I want to see Triple H's direction. So I'm cool with it.
I want to see a mix up. I want to see people that we haven't seen in a while to get some more TV time and get another chance. I want to see all of that. Like you're talking about Ricochet and people, he does get TV time, but not as much as he should. Like these people that are coming up, Asuka should get more time. I want to see Shinsuke again. There's all these people with the split and starting something fresh and new. And keeping them on 2 different networks and 2 different divisions of WWE, they will get more time. And that is never a bad thing in my book on so much talent that is just showing up on Raw or SmackDown and sitting in the back. My name wasn't called again this week, but I got paid. That's cool. I mean, I'm not mad at them for doing that, but I'm mad at the fact that they're not getting the opportunity. And there's going to be people that will ring. They'll ring that bell when the challenge is presented to them to do so. They're gonna do some fun things, and we're gonna see some great things from people that we haven't seen in a while. The mix up is always
people on the surface look at the draft, and we were talking before we hit record, where I was like, yeah, we recording actually, and I just said this shitty comment of like, oh, we'll see, the draft never works. The very least, the positive thing from the draft is you're giving people new air to breathe, and seeing Drew on Raw, I like.
Well,
Seeing Bianca go from Raw to SmackDown, I like. You know,
the part of
I
it,
like to see that.
but the
And the
part of
different
it,
matchups, right? You know,
yeah,
wherever Seth goes, who's Seth going to face? That'd be awesome. You know, Drew now is on Raw. He's got a whole different set of opponents. I love
yeah,
that for
it's gonna
Drew.
be great.
So
But
I
what
like
I
it. The
tell
Street
you,
Profits, I like
what
that they're
you
putting a little
get
bit of stock in them.
what you get mad about is what I get mad about is how they do the title unification and splitting things off. And it's funny, they splice off a title, then they unify, then they splice off a title. That's the part that we don't like because we like a champion that runs the Rooster Bowl shows.
I think to replicate, you know, obviously there's different needles that move, right? Back in the day, it used to be tickets sold because house shows drove your business. You know, that's not
Sure.
the
Now
scenario
it's
anymore.
TV money. Yeah.
It's merchandise, it's clicks on social media, it's TV money, it's all that stuff. There's a bunch of different things now. But wrestlers can still be held accountable for moving certain needles. I still think that if you have one unified world champion for men, one unified world champion for women, one unified tag champ for men, for women, one secondary title, and maybe you have a point, keep the US and Intercontinental separate and they dominate each brand. I think that having those champions, when you get crowned, it's like a promotion at work. It's not just something that's being given to you. So if you're world heavyweight champion, the one and only
You're
world
the one
heavyweight
moving that
champion,
needle.
you
Yeah.
move the needle on both shows. So you go both the back and SmackDown. Now it is hard to say who's going to challenge you, someone from Raw or SmackDown, but get creative with your fucking writing. And like you said, when the world champion is busy defending his title against someone from SmackDown, then make the US title on Raw the number one show for that month or whatever. And then when that pay-per-view ends, you go back the other way. Then maybe the champion comes over and starts feuding with someone from Raw. Now the Intercontinental champion is kind of the focus on SmackDown for a month. I don't think that's bad. I
Yeah,
think that
you can have the world title defended for 6 pay-per-views and then US for 3 on main eventing
because when you have two
and then
titles,
IC for
I
3.
feel one's always going to be the main title and the other one's going to be a consolation prize. You know, so and so is world champion, Becky is world champion on
Yes.
Raw,
I
and then
agree.
Liv has the consolation SmackDown championship. I don't feel Liv,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
Liv, you know, I feel that you know, like there should be one champion and you should be rewarded when you are that champion. You move social media needles, you move whatever attendance you want to track, you
and
move
I'll
viewership,
even
you
fight
move,
with you
you
on
know,
that. If
you move merchandise.
you make it secondary, you make it a unified women's title and you make a women's television title would be great. And
I think there's rumors that they want to do a women's intercontinental champion, and I'm not opposed to that if you unify the world titles. So there's only
exactly, yeah.
one, and then
Yeah.
you can have a women IC champion. So I'm not opposed to any of
Because to
that.
your
I just
point, that
feel,
one of
yeah.
them is always viewed as secondary anyway. So just make it a secondary title with calling it US or IC or TV or something.
I was a big fan of the WCW United States champions. There was one time where the world champions were Doom and the US champions were the fucking Steiner brothers.
Yeah,
Okay,
US tag, yeah.
sign me up for that shit. Like, you know, I mean, come on, man.
What's
Like,
wrong
wow.
with it? What's wrong with a United States tag or Intercontinental Tag Championship? What's wrong with that?
It's when they give up. It's when they give up on it, and then you put like, you know, the Tailor-Made Man and Tommy Rich, and they're your U.S. champions. That's when you fuck things up, right? Not to be a dick, but that's when you fuck things
You
up.
gotta
But when
put
you have,
stock in it,
when
bro.
your world champions are Doom and the U.S. tag titles are Steiners, you're fucking doing something right. Like that's what it should be. That's
Yeah,
why I always think too, like, you know, we all want to see Drew as world champion. Maybe not everybody, but I do.
I do.
But at the same time, that's always not always going to be a thing. So why can't we have Drew as a dominant intercontinental champion feuding with Gunther for 6 months?
I want to see Drew.
And then
I want to see Montez Ford.
you know what I mean?
I want to see all
Let's
these
get
guys
these
have
secondary
have a shot.
titles on people like Seth Rollins and make them important, and they did for a while. So
I would argue at this point,
fighting myself.
Like I think everybody in the back is saying it, but nobody wants to say it out loud. Seth is not going to win a title for a long time because it's not needed. They'd love him regardless.
True. But when you look at the whole grand scheme of things, like, you know, your unified champion is Roman Reigns, your U.S. champion is Bobby Lashley, and your Intercontinental champion is Drew fucking McIntyre. What's the problem here?
I don't have a
Look at
problem
that
with
star
that at all.
power. I like Austin Theory, but I would rather see somebody else with a little bit. I want you to take care of the other guys that are just right below the heavyweight. You know, give them. There was a time, Dave, by the way, where the world heavyweight champion was Hulk Hogan, the Intercontinental champion was the Ultimate Warrior, and the world tag team champions were Demolition. Okay, all right. Like, so let's get back to that kind of respect with your titles. Like, let's get.
I don't understand the
know?
problem. I don't understand the problem.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying is like, there's no shame in it. And they were building the Warrior. They were getting ready for Hogan to step down. You can still do that today. But if you have two different world champions, two different secondary champions, two different women's world
And
champions,
you
two
and you
different,
could
you know,
still,
it's too
but you could
much.
still those secondary titles you're talking about, IC and TV or IC US whatever. They can work those every week, and they could change quickly. It's fine. Like you can move them around, and the world title is the one that's the stigma that kind of that's the ace that runs the place and is moving the needle, like you said. But those titles can move around a lot easier, a lot faster. Like you can go between Theory and others back and forth in those titles, and I wouldn't have a problem with it anymore. I mean, it's already
Yeah,
tainted
you
as
could
it
be
is now.
hybrid with that. You can, you know, if you
Yeah.
want to put the rub on someone, you give them that title. If they are moving the needle, you give them that title. You know, because titles
Uh-huh.
are only important as you make them. And you know, if you have a good storyline and
Yeah.
people are fighting over the title, like Cody was coming after the title because his dad never won the title. That's personal.
It's a great
You know,
story.
that's a yeah. So, but the world title was just as big as the story, right? When you lose that and the titles become secondary, I think that's when nobody gives a shit about championships. And I think Triple H has done a lot in the past year to try to repair that. He still has a lot more work to do, but I love it. I like the
Well,
direction
he
so
has a lot of
far. Look,
experience
man,
as a wrestler in the bad sense. I just watched a pay per view from
you know
10 years
him
ago
and I know
where
I keep saying Shawn Michaels because Shawn Michaels is over NXT, but I mean like they're younger. I want to hear their
yeah.
voice. I think they've always
But
been pretty
no,
good
I get
creatively.
you. But you also know when well, especially Triple H is an example. I said we watched a pay per view that we're gonna critique in a couple of weeks, where the world championship match went in a draw, which is stupid anyway, and it was the second to last match to a Triple H Brock Lesnar cage match for the main event. And I'm just like, that's when you have a problem. That doesn't make any sense. There's does when you have that going on,
I
that means your
know
world title doesn't mean anything. We've talked about
I
this. I
know
know.
that you want to
Sorry.
be tempted, you know, like the Undertaker street matches, they main evented a couple WrestleManias here and there.
No,
When you get to that point, you have not put as much stock in your world heavyweight champion as you should. You know, and
that's
you could
it.
argue with me and say, Jess, what about WrestleMania? What about The Rock versus Cena? How dare you? You know, why wouldn't you put the world title you know, last? It was CM Punk and Jericho. Rock and Cena should have went last. They built that WrestleMania around Rocket Cena because they knew at the time they didn't give a shit about the world champion. That's why. Like, so the whole thought process going into
That's the
booking that
whole
Mania
problem.
was
That's the whole
we
point.
put the title on Punk, but we don't trust Punk. So what's The Rock doing? Oh, we'll put him against Cena. That's why the whole thought. If you lose faith in your champion, it's going to infect your booking. So don't put the title
Yeah.
on a champion that you're just trying to transition or you're just trying to give him a consolation prize. Put the world champion on someone that you can see main eventing Mania. Look at what Roman's doing for us. Good shit. You could be bored with this reign all you want right now, but the booking is awesome. And the majority of people are still with Roman. Even if they want to see Roman get beat, they're with him though.
They're
They look at
watching
Roman
him.
as like, he's the dominant guy. Like, and so they're doing it right.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, Brock Lesnar also
More
has
than
that
they have
mystique.
in years. More than they have in
So
years.
yeah, so it's like, listen, man, like a lot of people started getting bored with Hogan. He wore the title for 4 years. You know,
Four
people were getting bored with
years.
Hogan, but 90% of the crowd still loved him. The other 10 are just super vocal. So it's like you have to, but you look at the needles, right? Is Hogan's merchandise dipping? I don't know, maybe. Is Hogan's TV ratings dipping? I don't know, maybe. But you just that's how you is the pay per view buys dipping when Hogan's on top? I don't know, maybe.
It all
That's when you
matters.
make the change. But if it's not, you could love Roddy Piper and you could wish Roddy Piper would have beat Hogan all you fucking want to. But if Vince was
But
looking at it going,
the
eh,
fact that he never did
yeah.
was what moved the needle to begin with.
So if Hogan and Piper go on a
That
10-city
anger.
tour and two of those cities, people 50-50, they'd 50-50 cheer Hogan Piper, but the other of those cities, they fucking loudly cheer Hogan and boo Piper, we're going with that program. Those two cities don't fucking matter because it's only 2 out of 10. You know, like you have to, it's all business. It's always been that way. Vince has always been super smart. We're just wrestling marks, right? All of us are at heart. So we fall for the storylines first because when you can capture our imagination with a good storyline, you forget that it's a business under. It's always a business under. It's a business before we even see it on the fucking television. That's all been negotiated. So you got to respect the business.
Yeah.
Things have not been done properly business wise in the last 10 years under Vince. You could yell at me and say, yeah, but he's a fucking
Well,
billionaire.
no.
But I'm talking about creative.
You're talking about
Creatively,
creative.
it
There you
hasn't been
go.
done
Make
right.
that
Yeah,
clear.
creatively.
Because
Yeah,
business,
I have to make that very clear.
real business. Yeah, he did it all right.
Because this motherfucker Vince McMahon in the late 80s was told Bruce Pritchard to his face, one day there's going to be a wrestling network. No, there's fucking Vince. You're
What are you
insane.
talking
He
about?
said that to Bruce Pritchard in the
Yeah.
late fucking 80s. Like,
Yeah.
that's insane. One day this will be public. Oh, fucking Vince. He's
What are you
fucking
talking?
drunk.
You're
Like, yeah.
stupid. Yeah.
He's drunk on protein powder. What the fuck is he talking about? Like, and you know, so
The TV
I
deals
need
that
to
didn't
stand
work
corrected on
under
that. It's all
him,
creative.
the pay-per-view stuff, the network, the streaming stuff, the oh my god, the advertising deals at these places that we all hate it, we boo it, but this the money you don't have a truck big enough to back it all and fill it up. Like you don't have any like the amount of money is stupid. I mean, people talk about. I mean, I know it's a company, but people talk about "fuck you" money. That's what this is. It's insane what this brand. And I'm not talking about wrestling. I'm talking about WWE has
WWE,
developed.
yeah.
It's we say the machine for a reason, and he's behind all of that. Now, creative, yeah, we can lose our crap, but it almost didn't matter because you get the kiddies in the building, you get the parents to spend the money, and everything seems to work out. But now they're still doing that, and they're getting us the thing that's really scary in the realm of ratings and stuff is they're bringing us hardcores kind of back into it. We're actually this isn't that bad.
Dude, we're in our 40s, and like I'm caught up on some of the storylines going. I love
We're
this
more
shit.
excited about
Like,
storylines than we've been in almost a decade.
this
Let's
is
be
why I
real.
love it. During the down period of wrestling, I'm more
Mhm.
interested in the contracts and what's going on backstage and why is
The
this wrestler not
actual
drawing?
work in
What's
the
that wrestler doing?
ring, like
Yeah.
just how good the match was. Yeah.
And I'd rather not be a fan of that. I would rather be a fan like I am right
Of
now.
the story.
I'd rather be a
Yeah.
fan like I was in the Attitude Era. So again, I'm
Give me
going to
my
switch over to
soaps,
people
bro.
who hate.
Give me my soaps.
Yeah, I'm going to switch over to people who hate AEW. You're stupid. You should hope. You should hope they put 50,000 people in Wembley Stadium because that's going to be a success for them and they need that.
Let's talk about
let's
that,
do
bro,
it.
because I'm really concerned. Like I think it was Craig. He posted the actual ticket sets for Wembley. Like they don't plan on papering much off, and I'm just like, do they really think they can fill that thing? I'm a little concerned about it. I mean,
so here's the thing, right?
It is over the pond.
In the digital, they're not going to put 80,000 people in there. I don't think so. But I think also, like, look at what they did at SummerSlam in Tennessee, right? That stadium held like 70,000 people, and they only put 45 in there. They tarped off the entire half. You couldn't tell. If you go back and watch SummerSlam 2023 right now, or sorry, 2022 right now, you couldn't fucking tell anything. Like that was empty.
They edited it very well. I won't deny that. But this isn't.
I'm telling you, with this Wembley Stadium, if they can put 50,000 people in there, you can arrange it and tarp off the right areas where it'll look fantastic. And so they need to do that. And by the way, how is that not a fucking? How is that not history, man?
It's the new Wembley. I mean, but is that this is their event of all events of the year, right? This is their WrestleMania, is it not?
Kind of. Like it. Basically, this is like a mirror of the very first event that launched before Tony Khan agreed to make it AEW. They had a pay-per-view right before AEW was announced at MGM, and they sold it out.
It was all in,
and it was an independent show, and it was before AEW was a thing, and it was an independent show, and it sold 16,000 tickets, and that's crazy.
Didn't they just call it all in or no?
Yeah, I believe so, and because it was all independents in, basically we're all in on this, and it showed. Because people were sick of Vince's booking and the staleness of the PG WWE era, that people were crying for it. So now WWE is getting a little better, but there's still diehard AEW fans out there. I believe
and there's
they're going to get about 50,000 people
good
in
wrestling over there. Let's be real. There's good wrestling.
I think it's fine. I think in both promotions you can love and hate different things, and that's fine. That's your right as a fan.
I wish they would do a little bit better work with their storylines, but again, when they get in the ring, for the most part, there's botches, but there's botches everywhere. You could talk about how one company has more botches than the other.
In social media, you can edit stuff and make anything look you want. You go to a particular Twitter handle, someone likes WWE and hates AEW, or vice versa, and that's all you're going to get.
I'm just concerned that they don't.
My advice to everyone is just watch your own stuff and follow your heart. If you like it when you see it, you like it.
If you don't like it, watch something else.
That's it.
But I'll tell you, in Wembley, I'm just concerned that they won't have the moxie, in a sense, to sell it out. Not Moxley, do it.
I don't feel that Tony Khan would have done it unless he thought that he could at least make it half full.
Yeah, you're talking 50,000 to the 100,000 seat.
Half full. Half full is 40 to 50,000 people, and I think that's fine. And I don't see them not.
It's just weird to me that they didn't even bother to.
And I don't think they need Punk. Which, by the way, they're going to have Punk. That's already been determined. They're launching a new show on Saturday, which I didn't talk about. Which
so you
is
think it's going to happen? Something? Tell me more about that.
No, it's definitely going to happen. It's been announced. Punk is coming back in June, and so they're launching a new show on Saturday, which I dispute. I think Rampage will go away. I don't know why they just didn't move Rampage to Saturday, but whatever. I don't know. So they have Dynamite, they have Rampage, and now it's going to be called Collision. And Collision's going to be on Saturday at 8 o'clock. And I think it's going to be on TNT, so it's still going to be on the same family. So they're having a third show. I don't know why they would do this. However, I got to give Tony Khan, he's impressed me, but then made me worried on a lot of different occasions. So I don't know.
I get worried. Yeah, I get worried.
I'm a little worried. I don't know why you would do a third show, but I feel that like AEW Dark's going to go away. I feel that like some of the other things are going to go away. And I think Rampage should go away, to be quite honest. And I don't know why you wouldn't just move Rampage over, but maybe he's just going to get rid of Rampage altogether and just be Dynamite on Wednesday, Collision on Saturday, and we're done. And CM Punk is supposed to re-debut in June. I think it's June 17th, but I could be wrong. I know it's June something on Saturday. CM Punk was announced that he's going to be back.
I've been living under a rock, bro. I didn't see that. I had no idea. When did you see that?
Right now it's leaked on everywhere. I don't know if AEW's officially announced it, but they all week this week, Jericho met with Punk, Tony met with Punk, everybody met with Punk to squash whatever the problem was before and all that stuff. So I do believe, and Tony Khan could separate it like Raw and SmackDown are doing right now. So Punk's only on Collision, and then the Elite is only on Dynamite, and then they never touch. That could be a thing too. He's got a big enough fucking roster like to do that.
Well,
so
that's true.
I mean, so I think that he's going for a split. If you're really going
to squash it, you should play the storyline.
I totally agree with that. I have no problems with what you're saying right now.
Stupid.
But that's just me reading preliminary stuff on some of the dirt sheets, so it could all be wrong. But I do believe that it's almost confirmed that Punk is coming back.
I feel
so. Punk will be there. Punk will be there for Wembley.
I've always felt like he was not going to come back, and I always felt like his heart wasn't. You and I have had this discussion. That's how I feel about it. But I don't want that to be true. You know what I mean?
I think Punk's heart is in it. But Punk's heart is in it if the terms are right. So I think if Punk is like, if you're going to bring me back and fix your stuff that I think is wrong, now that's a gamble because what Punk thinks is wrong may not be what's really wrong. He could just want something a certain way. I don't know. But Tony Khan's going to take the gamble. But Tony Khan saw a big enough needle moving when Punk was around.
To your point, that's
he's
what
like, I need
you.
You know what I mean?
You wouldn't book Wembley if you didn't think you had that in the bag.
Good point on that one. And then also, like, you could probably do a merger with New Japan. You could see Okada out there. You're going to see Ricochet. You're going to see Ospreay. Yeah. You're going to see Will Ospreay. You're going to see the Elite. You're going to see Omega.
You got the Forbidden Door. But I thought it was also...
Yeah, exactly. They were all the people outside of WWF that attracted this audience to begin with. So it's almost like Punk, or it's almost like Khan is going back to like, I want to re-please the audience that I originally started this journey with.
I also thought it was very interesting that Punk kind of met up with everybody on Raw when they were in Chicago this week too. But then
we never talked about that too. And I don't even know what that was all about. Maybe it was to spook Khan and make Tony Khan think that it's possible. Maybe it's who knows? So it's a weird shit going on right now. But yeah, Punk was backstage. Really this week at Raw.
Hey, LA Knight got another win tonight on SmackDown, so that's the most important thing.
That's all we need, and I think we should end it on that. We're at 30 minutes right now, and I think, you know what, Dave, and we're just fucking fans. We've never claimed to be a news site or a dirt sheet site or, you're on the main podcast, no ties to the industry, anything like that, no inside sources. We just want to talk as fans. So you could like what we say or you could hate what we say, and we could be wrong or we could be totally right. And that's the beauty of it is I don't give a shit.
We're
actually
all wrong on Cody for WrestleMania.
I don't give a shit what you think about me because I've been watching since 1987/88 and I've paid $9.7 billion in pay-per-views because I used to get both WWF, ECW, and WWE pay-per-views back in the day.
I still remember when Jess talked to me about what was coming. He had the WWE like stream and he was paying for that. He's like, Dave, you got to get the network. I'm like, well, why would I want that? He's like, well, first of all, every pay-per-view is going to be free once you buy it for $10 a month or whatever it was. I'm like, well, I'm sold. And he's like, yeah, and that, it doesn't even end there. He's like, the library for everything they've ever done is going to be in there. And I was like,
that was just at the time. That was just 2013/14.
Yeah.
Right. Like now, like before that, I would get all the individual pay. I didn't get every ECW pay-per-view.
We paid for those every month. Yeah.
But I would murder my parents with the fact that they're like, oh, you're going to watch WWE in your house. Oh, okay, cool. You're going to watch WCW Spring Stampede in the same month the next week. Oh, now this fucking ECW. What's ECW?
$30, then became $40, then became $60. Yeah.
So I've been paying my dues, motherfuckers, so I can have my opinion. You can go fuck yourself if you don't like my opinion. Just don't listen. You can go fuck off.
It's
So
just a
I
podcast.
paid my dues, which makes me an expert at nothing, by the way. It just makes me a consumer, a slave consumer, but that's fine.
So funny.
But that's it. That's unscripted for April the 28th. Ladies and gentlemen, follow us on O.W.P and on Daily Motion, please. We're
Ooh,
putting
Daily
so much
Motion's
good
gonna be
content
fun.
out. I don't know how we don't have a million followers. Honestly, we do put out good content, and whether you agree with us or not we just don't divide people. I think that's the problem. If you divide, you're super popular in this country for some odd reason. But if you don't divide, people are you're boring. Even though we have awesome video clips on the O.W.P site, we do great reviews. We provide sound clips, video, Daily Motion. We're doing video. We're gonna go do a watch. Dave and I are gonna watch along house shows right now. House show matches over on Daily Motion. You guys are missing out. Go fuck yourself. And fuck
Oh,
you,
there you go.
Joe. Fuck you, Craig. Fuck you, Cuz. There we go. I just had to cover
Wow.
all the fucks. And fuck you, Dave. And
I
fuck
thought I was
me.
cool today.
And what?
I thought I was cool
Listen,
today.
all of us are cool in the beginning of the day, and none of us are cool at the end of the day. That's my philosophy. That's
Wasn't
a
cool.
t-shirt.
After high
All
school,
right.
you're not cool anymore. That's the t-shirt.
All right, everyone. Have a good night. And fuck off.